Morning and welcome again to Naas and on the other end, Deon. Hello, Deon.
Morning, Naas.
How was your week?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. And yours?
Fine. We had quite an interesting one. We played Skakuzo. Really enjoyed that. And I had a breakfast with Jimmy Stonehouse and the Pumas, with Quivers, Visser and Brighton, and a couple of the other guys. Gary Botha was there. They actually won the Russian league. They won all the cups this year, so that's quite an achievement. So nice week. But there's a couple of things that we need to get to before we get to rugby. I've been told, I think for weeks now, that I should actually tell you to subscribe. So please subscribe. So we've got that one out of the way. And then Frikte 90 years young. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was nice seeing him yesterday at Loftus. Still going strong. I think they were on Talks and Chops on Friday night as well. And living legend, and happy birthday to him from our side as well.
Absolutely. But I need to tell you this. I saw his try against the British and Irish Lions in 1968 at Loftus. I saw his drop, score, and place against Western Province. I saw him lose the Currie Cup in 1970 in Kimberley against Griquas. I saw them draw against the Old Transvaal, now the Lions, in 1971, and I think that was his last game. But in those days, he played 109 games for Northern Transvaal, or as we call them today, the Bulls. In those days. Now that is an achievement because not a lot of guys in those days could play more than 100, and that's unbelievable. We spoke about Sia the other day playing 100 for South Africa. Okay, but there's more opportunities. But in those days, can you imagine? Can you imagine playing over 100 games?
Yeah, that is quite an achievement. And I think in your time as well, you guys were limited with games, so it could have been much more. So for him playing those amount of games is a great achievement.
Yeah. So I've actually seen him play from the 60s till his last game. Okay. Before we get to players, whatever, let's get to South Africa 73, Wales 0.
It's the first time in 58 years that Wales has been kept out without scoring at Cardiff. But I think in the first place, I don't know why Wales would have taken up this test if they know the state that their rugby was in, knowing that their players won't be available. And he told because they were tumbled. I think at a time the ref kind of kept them in the game by giving a lot of free kicks against the box.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so it was quite something to see. But it was a great performance from South Africa. Sasha playing well again under Estreisen. But complete dominance and not good signs for Wales.
You know what I really enjoyed about the game, and we need to be extremely careful because we want to be objective, okay? But accepting a game like that, I believe that 14, they lost 14. We lost like over 20, but I mean, they lost 14, but we are touring side, so you've got more players available. And then really get hammered. And in a way, I actually enjoyed that we gave them 73 points because the thing is, I know a lot of is about money, an extra game, stadium not really full, but I believe they did make some money. But by enforcing the issue that South Africa is the side to watch at the moment.
I think it was a great finish to a great season now, the Springboks. I think if you go and have a look at it, it's probably one of their best seasons ever.
Yeah.
And I saw from winning the World Cup 2 years ago, they've only lost 4 tests. And that usually is a good sign in between World Cups, how you perform. Because usually teams win the World Cup, then they have a little bit of a slack.
Yeah.
And I think that's the worrying signs for the other nations is the fact that the Boks is doing even better after winning the WAL 2 years ago. But you're complete walloping and Wales at times, absolutely no plan, just kicking the ball away. They just kicked it up in there, hoping that they'll get the ball back at times. And I know we've been speaking about the back pass ball that we're seeing by all the teams. And I think Wales is a team that shouldn't do that at all. Maybe bring it in once or twice, but they're getting caught behind the back line even. The defense line. So they're putting themselves under so much more pressure.
Yeah.
But you're a lot of work for them to do before the Six Nations.
Yeah, but you know, all in all, you mentioned it. You know, a great season for the Boks. What's definitely clear is that we want to beat everybody nowadays. It's not like, you know, sometimes, remember, let's go a couple of years ago, even a couple of years ago, okay? We had some indifferent internationals. We played well one week, then the next week you think, but okay, yes, there's a couple of changes, but we didn't play to our normal standard. But it's like a lot changed because we're really playing well at the moment. The question I want to raise here is, do you think, because we have that tie fight, we know that, we scrum, I think, by far the best in world rugby at the moment. And that's including Argentina, because they normally have a good scrum, okay? Do you think a lot we can put at the front door of Sasha at fly-off, giving us more options, different dimension to the game, different ideas, bringing like the rest of the backline a little bit more into play?
And I think the other teams are much more aware now because there's a bigger threat at them, giving you more options. Obviously, with the pack going forward, you're buying Sasha time.
Yeah.
And for Flav, with that pace, he will be dangerous.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you mentioned, no better scrum in the world than the Boks at the moment. And you can only see them improving even more. But yeah, with Sasha thing, giving him all the options and playing like he is playing at 23, he is also just going to grow and get better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And before we get, and if we let's look at some of the players. We talked about the tight five. We don't want to say specifically, but okay, we had a rugby player of the year, World Rugby Player of the Year, Malcolm Marx. I think he made a big difference in the front row. Jasper Visa, I thought, was absolutely superb. But the three working well together, Kulisi, Peter, Steph, and him. I think Reinach really, really made a big difference. You know, Grant Williams there. There's a couple of other really good number nines, but the combination, Sasha and Reinach, really worked well. And then, you know, I must say, the Allende played well. Espreisen yesterday played well. But overall, there's not a lot of box that we can look at and say, a little bit underperformed. I don't know if you agree with my statement.
No, I do. And the thing is, with a big squad that they've been building, I think everybody's hungry to play the forward place because they know Russia has this big squad now, but you still want to be the first choice for Yalasi.
Yeah.
So I think by building a bigger squad, you've created much more hunger. And you're going to see, hopefully, the players performing better at URC level as well to getting to that starting lineup and not having this A, B side that we've been seeing.
You know, I'm glad you've sort of explained it in that manner, because if you think about it, we all play to be the number one. Doesn't matter. You can have 4 flyers. Everyone strives to be the number one. And I think Sasha is taking a little bit the number one jersey now. And it's a nice way to actually be very polite about it, because my dad always told me, and maybe it was wrong, but he said, your direct opposition opponent can't be your biggest threat. And it's it's hard words. Because I played against the veterans, Robbie Blair, Scott Nadia, you named it, and Gavin Cowley, and I really enjoyed them. But it is actually quite true. We actually became really good friends after we all retired. So there's still you strive to be that guy wearing the number 10 jersey.
No, for sure. And I mean, it's nice being a part of this winning team, winning culture, but no player will tell you it's nicer to sit in the stands.
So okay. But unfortunately, we have to touch on it. Yemen Etzebeth and the red card. Now it's difficult to say because a picture can tell a very different story. Now, if you slow it down, it looks bad. I don't know what you think about it, but it looks bad. If you take whatever you want to do and go frame by frame by frame, then it it can be quite a lengthy disciplinary.
No, definitely. I think the biggest disappointment about the whole thing is that he's such an experienced player for the Springboks. There's 4 or 5 minutes left of the game. Totally unnecessary. Why did he have to do it? Even if the guy provoked him, we know eye gouge is dangerous in the first place.
Yeah.
He's probably staring a minimum of 3 to 4 months, minimum. And I won't be surprised if we see 6 to 12.
That is a lengthy one, yeah. Yeah, but it is like you say, it's unfortunate. I We spoke about this. I always have the attitude. Don't always look at the retaliation. Look who instigated the whole thing. Okay, look at that first. But we know, and we've spoken about it on a number of occasions. Above the shoulders, you just stay away. Now that was above the shoulders. Doesn't matter whatever area you're looking at. It's still not looking good.
It's unfortunate. So that will probably be sorted out in the next couple of weeks. He waiting to hear his fight and what will happen. But I think from a spectator's point of view, it didn't look good.
No.
And the minimum ban is definitely up there, and it's not going to look good for you.
Okay, but let's quickly look at the whole picture from June. Not only South Africa, everybody from actually, let's go back to March. Let's go back to the Six Nations. Are we sort of getting a little bit ahead, not of ourselves? Are we getting a little bit ahead and teams are start following Rassie a little bit? Is he totally out of the box thinker, as we've seen years ago with the lights at the Free State Stadium and all this and all that? Are teams sort of starting to copy us? Are they trying to match us? What if I give you all the teams? Okay. Which teams would you say we need to take seriously? And I don't mean any internationals not serious, but I mean which teams overall, because there's too many for me, but I'll give you my opinion. I want to get your opinion about that.
Well, I think firstly, England,
Yeah.
where they've definitely copied the box is with a bench. So your bench is becoming a massive part of the game.
Okay, let's stop there. I read quite a number of articles during this week. Okay. I've got my opinion about it. I would like your opinion about it. Okay. People believe, and that's after the Irish game, and that's coming from W. So put it in brackets. That's coming from the Irish. People say a lot of ex-players, international players that I actually played against and with, say no more this 8 replacements. Only replace when you injured. Okay. And then if you injured, leading the field, you can't play the next game. Doesn't matter what the next game is. What do you think about that?
That's quite interesting, but I don't think that will come into play.
No, it won't. But I mean, that's the way the Irish feel it, Mario.
But I think if your pack goes back like they did, you'll start figuring out all these funny things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting point.
Okay, give me your other tips.
Okay, England, obviously, France is always going to be a threat because I think they also have the depth, but they need to start playing all the star players in all the big tests.
Okay, so they need to make sure a little bit like a number of the other teams. Your best 15 on the field every game.
Every game.
Okay.
They're not in that position like the Boks to play a BC team and expect a big result.
Okay.
And I still think they missed a big opportunity in July with the All Blacks.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's over now. Argentina was the team that impressed me a lot this year, winning the All Blacks for the first time in Argentina and really playing good rugby. I think they gave us a good run for our money with the last championship game in London.
They did.
End of year tour, they had a phenomenal tour. They could have easily beaten England in that last game. So they definitely also a team. So I'll say England, France, and Argentina.
And that's it.
Yeah, the All Blacks will definitely bounce back next year. I think they're in desperate times as well. I think there's a lot of changes that will need to happen for them to become better. The big question is still, will Moanga be available for the tour to South Africa? Because the rule says he's only allowed end of year tour. But I think they'll be something there. So you'll see something, new initiatives coming from the All Blacks. But yeah, England and France, they're the two teams that's really standing out for me.
Okay, I've got I look at New Zealand because that's still the team that, apart from South Africa, that I really enjoy watching. Okay. The question is, do they have the tight five to stand up against South Africa?
Definitely not from the benches side, and I think that's where they're fighting. They were in the test where they got the record. It was 10-all at halftime, and when the bench came on, there's just too much power and class coming from the box.
Yeah.
So having two packs that's world class, no, they don't at the moment.
Okay. Okay. So Scotland, Wales, Fiji actually, I thought played a little bit of good rugby at the end of the year. Okay, so there's Italy. I think at home, Italy will always be quite competitive. I think away from home, not that much. This Australia.
Yeah, they started well this year, and but they need the top 15 players. So we've said that all year, but it's a fact because that's why they also lost 10 test matches. But I won't write them off for the next World Cup being at home.
Yeah.
They're going to be there and about, but yeah, we'll find out this week who's in which pool.
Okay. Now, let's go URC. Okay. Stormers Munster. Stormers 27, Munster 21. Now, what's that game last night? It was absolutely, I must say, there's definitely a different vibe with the Stormers this season. The defense, unbelievable last night. Yes, they did give a try. They were trailing 28, 27, and then they cancelled that try because there was the ball went forward. But a fantastic win away from home against Munster.
Yeah, definitely. But coming back to that, do you think that was forward from ground?
No, I didn't. I looked at that play and I thought it was a try. That's my opinion. The thing is, did it go forward? Did it go forward from him to somebody else? It went forward from him onto him again and then back. That's the way I saw it. Okay, but I guess everybody can see it differently. I thought it was a try, but I was just impressed. It's a different Stormer side this season, definitely.
On beating Munster away, they had a couple of big names back. Yeah. The Stormers lacked a couple of big names, so it's even a more bigger win for the Stormers, especially away. Damien, Sasha, those guys will come back. So any away win in the URC is a massive bonus.
Yeah,
we've said that as well. But yeah, being 21, 6 down, fighting back in Limerick is a a great performance.
Okay, the big, I don't want to say a surprise because I had a little bit of a feeling that the Lions can beat the Bulls. I don't know why. And then they did. 43-33 for the Lions. Not that surprise, is it?
Yeah, look, with all the Bulls' big names that weren't there, a lot of them playing for the Box yesterday, but playing at home, you'd expect the Bulls to win that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but a great result for the Lions. They played actually very well.
You know, Deon, what worries me is that you looked at, guys are training, they've got their schedules or whatever. Then you look at that first round, okay? The Bulls playing that run around, back pass, whatever. I don't mind any move. And we've seen it on a number of occasions. We see the sidearm pass and we see quite a number of passes and drawing the opposition and then pass. The thing is, the golden rule is you have to look at the player when you pass the ball to him. And you look at that first pass between, I think, the center and whoever came around. That ball just went straight down, kick forward, score for the Lions. Okay. The player that passed ball never looked to who he was passing. And I see that more often. And now I know it's people can say, yeah, but they're training the whole day. They know precisely who's where, whatever. In a game, it's a different story because let's say I just tuck you on your jersey and you're a hundredth of a second too late. And I expect you to be there, but you're not there. And I pass the ball and the ball ends up on the ground and suddenly it's 7 points against you. And that's where Ireland for years surprised us, but I also enjoyed it because they gave a lot of attention to detail. Now that's missing detail that you should not expect in a URC. The other thing is catching up and under. Seriously, just a straightforward up and under, knocking that on. Okay. And then the other thing is, and I think you've also picked it up throughout all the games, how many times we see the skip pass, but it's a 4 against 3. So if every player does his work, then there's an overlap. Then suddenly you see the inside player skip straight to the wing. So the 3 defenders just move straight on the wing.
Yeah, and you don't expect that from a guy that has played for the Springboks a lot, and especially at URC level. That's basic errors, and it was occurring in a couple of minutes. It wasn't even our part, and which cost them. But yeah, the Bulls were their own worst enemy yesterday.
Okay, the Bulls need a fly-off. You're going to me.
Personally, you can't play someone out of position if he's not a top quality thing, especially at URC level.
No. We're not blaming the player because he doesn't select himself. No, we don't blame the player here. But I'm saying the Bulls need a fly-off.
Definitely. If they want to win the big games, they're going to have to pull out. Hopefully he plays next weekend.
Yeah, the calf injury.
Okay, I thought that there might have been a story because I think the plan was for him to play, but they seriously need him as quickly as possible.
Okay, then Connacht beating the Sharks quite heavily, 44-27.
Yeah, never easy in Connacht, especially at night. But yeah, they blew the Sharks away. And I thought the Sharks would have put on a much better performance.
But they did play better. I watched the game. They did play a lot better, but I didn't expect that score.
No, it was a big score, especially with a couple of big names also back for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, their season not turning out as it should.
Okay, and I'm just going to run through Leinster beating Dragons, Ulster. They had a good win against Benetton. Again, Benetton at home, different side to being away from home. Cardiff beating Zebra. Edinburgh, Osprey. Big surprise, Scarlet, 23, Glasgow, no.
Yeah, that was quite a surprise.
Is there something happening in Wales, do you think, at club level?
Look, I think some of those players that were released from Wales obviously helped the club sides. Because Cardiff also coming away with a win against Zebra.
Yeah.
Where I thought Zebra might actually win that game.
Yeah.
But releasing 13 players, 4 or 5 guys makes a difference for those clubs. But yeah, keeping Glasgow out, and we know they're a quality team. Obviously, it was a big team that they picked, but
Yeah.
to keep any team out these days, not scoring, says a lot about your game on that day. So hats off to the Scarlets there.
Okay, so that's us for today. I just want to say again, Frik de Pre, 90 years old, absolute fantastic. And I am very fortunate to know you very well. And hope, I can't say I hope there's another 90 years, but I actually can. So let's hope there's another 90 years.